They're flying people in here. Illegal aliens are becoming legalized. They put out an app so people can come through our ports, so they don't count them as illegal, and I could go on and on and on, but don't worry, they're deporting more people than ever before. If you bring in 20 million people and you're deporting 50,000 more people than you did 10 years ago, that means nothing. There's more murderers, rapists, gangs from all over the damn world, communist Chinese, adult, soldier-age men, and I go on in this country than ever in our history. You know, ladies and gentlemen, this January 6th stuff, they keep talking about insurrection. It's the worst day in American history. These people are so stupid. It's unbelievable. First of all, wasn't it thrilling? The Electoral College. Now, keep in mind, the Democrats want to eliminate the Electoral College, but they're for democracy. They want to eliminate the Electoral College. Keep in mind, in California, they just passed a law that localities are not allowed to require voter ID, meaning the state doesn't require voter ID as they let in more and more illegal aliens. Is that intended to ensure the vote is proper? No, it's intended to do the opposite. Now, we know what took place in 2020. They sent their lawyers into states, particularly Democrat states and strongholds. They changed the legal systems there when it comes to voting to help their election. But they say, see here, the Democrats didn't object, they didn't fight. No, because Trump won in a landslide. He overcame all the graft, he overcame all the fraud, he overcame it all. And he won the Electoral College, 312 was it, or 321? That's a landslide. And he won the popular vote. And he won all the battleground states. They couldn't do enough to stop him, even if they wanted to. But here's the deal. They say, see, peaceful transition of power. I think the late, great Kamala Harris said that. Peaceful transition of power. No, it's not. As I speak, they are plotting to destroy Donald Trump and his presidency. They're plotting to stop his appointments. Joe Biden is out there doing everything possible to cripple the incoming presidency. They're loading up the courts as I speak with one radical judge after another, so when these lawsuits are actually brought, they expect to win them. The bureaucracy is strongly dug in. They will try and sabotage whatever Donald Trump wants to do. And of course, the media haven't changed at all. It's the same damnable media that's out there. So we have our hands full. We have a big fight ahead of us. That's why this speaker battle was so important. Mike Johnson. Who are you going to replace Mike Johnson with? Seriously, nobody. How do I know that? Because they had nobody. 80% of the Republican caucus, 80% of the Republicans don't agree with the Freedom Caucus. So the Freedom Caucus has to do a better job of literally being the Freedom Caucus, representing a majority of at least the Republicans in the House of Representatives. That's not my job. That's not your job. We can fight for our principles, fight for our agenda. We must do so. Keep pushing, pushing, pushing for more constitutional government. Absolutely 100%. But we cannot destroy ourselves when we're trying to get Donald Trump's agenda across the finish line. We have to unite behind it. And it's very interesting. Most of the Republicans have and are uniting behind it in the House. We still have the usual delinquents in the Senate that we're going to need to keep an eye on, but we cannot be a house divided, as Lincoln put it, because we'll destroy ourselves. That's why we needed to get past that, and we did get past that, again, thanks to Donald Trump in many respects. So here's the bottom line. I put a post out, and I said that Joe Biden is a fascist. Joe Biden's a fascist. He's doing everything he can now to try and prevent the institution of the Trump agenda, where Trump won by a landslide. And so in his lame duck session, as they put it, the lame duck period between the new and the old president, he's doing things that are absolute abominations. He just released 11 terrorists out of Guantanamo Bay and sent them to Oman or some hellhole. He didn't even consult with the committees of Congress. He just did it. He's negotiating to release more to the Taliban in exchange for Americans. Anthony Blinken told us 6 weeks ago there were no Americans left in Afghanistan. Am I the only one who remembers this? He said there are no Americans left in Afghanistan. I said that SOB is a liar. He's a liar. And of course he's a liar. And so they're doing that. He commutes the sentences of the most loathsome murderers in the federal prison system. Before that, he commuted the sentences of 1,500 to 1,600 individuals who said they were nonviolent. He said he did it because they were nonviolent. Turns out he failed to notice that there were several mass murderers in there, but, you know, oops. But in this case, he specifically commuted the sentences of murders. And he's pushing this hardcore agenda even throughout the bureaucracy. He's making decisions now that are going to make it enormously difficult, or at least complicated, for Trump to reverse course. He's just decided that there will be no oil and gas drilling on the west or east coast. Now think about that. You know, we sit back, think about that. There are rigs there. There's money invested there. There are leases there. There are companies that have spent a fortune on infrastructure to drill. Some of them have been there for a long time. Just with the sign of a signature, he just said no and no. People don't know in August, in the Arctic Sea, they call it, that is around Alaska, he also said there'll be no drilling there. In Anwar, where Donald Trump had opened it up significantly, he all but closed it down. He's prevented pipelines from being built. He's prevented drilling on the continental United States, on federal lands, and that's where most of the oil and gas is. Why? Because the government controls 30% of the land in this country. And we're talking about when you fly from the East Coast to the West Coast, or the West Coast to the East Coast, or you fly from Florida to North Dakota, or North Dakota to Florida, you look at what's in between, an enormous amount of that is actually owned by the federal government. And there's nothing there. You can fly for hours. There's nothing there. It's desolate. Now, that's a good thing. Okay, who cares one way or the other? But the point is, he says, no drilling there, no pipelines there. And then they lie. Oh, we've issued more leases than anything else. You issue a lease. A lease. It's like you have a lease for a restaurant to go somewhere, but there's no restaurant there because you don't allow the restaurant to actually open. But I gave them a lease. You gave them a lease to nothing. And that's the game they've been playing. It's like deportations on immigration. Millions and millions of people come. We're deporting more people than ever before. They're flying people in here. Illegal aliens are becoming legalized. They put out an app so people can come through our ports, so they don't count them as illegal, and I could go on and on and on, but don't worry, they're deporting more people than ever before. If you bring in 20 million people and you're deporting 50,000 more people than you did 10 years ago, that means nothing. There's more murders, rapists, drug cartel types, gangs from all over the damn world, communist Chinese, adult soldier-age men, and I go on and on in this country than ever in our history. But they're deporting more people than ever before. So what Biden is he's a fascist. Everything he's doing here runs counter to the fact that we had an election. So this is my point. They say, see, a peaceful transition of power. There's nothing peaceful about the Democrat Party.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.